Trump just isn't the same. You're noticing it now, aren't you? You can see it. He's old, sleepy, confused, weak.
His jaw kept falling on his chest and his mouth kept going slack.
He's not the same man. His energy is gone. No one can deny it.
And Putin, has so little respect for Obama that he's starting to throw around the nuclear word. You heard that, nuclear.
You're learning he cares about himself, not us.
Sioux Falls, thank you very much, Sioux Falls.
We've all had parents who we loved, but who changed over the years. Needed help, needed understanding, needed care.
Including Obama. I'll tell you what, you take a look at Obama and take...
With Trump, it's happening so fast. We can all see it. Now you do too.
I wanted to start with that ad from the Lincoln Project for two reasons. The first being anyone who observes Donald Trump can tell over the past couple of months he has deteriorated significantly. Not only is his energy down, he's barely able to do his rallies anymore, but when he does speak, whether in a press conference interview or one of his unhinged rallies, they are more crazed than ever. And we see him struggling to make sentences happen. We see him struggling to speak, struggling to get any sort of point across because he has absolutely lost his mind. He is in a complete state of cognitive decline. Now, the second reason I wanted to show that ad is because it included some reporting from the New York Times' Maggie Haberman, who was talking about how Donald Trump was falling asleep during his own trial and how damaging that was to his image. But Maggie Haberman is out with some new reporting about Donald Trump, not only and his cognitive state, but something he said about Kamala Harris, which reveals how frightened, how angry, and how unhinged he is in the final weeks of this race. Donald Trump, during a campaign event, during a private fundraiser, called Kamala Harris a slur in a disgraceful, disgusting statement, and we are going to get into all of it. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, to hit that subscribe button. Really goes a long way in supporting the community that we're building right here on this channel. Now, before we get into this shocking and breaking news reporting, I want to check out a clip from Trump that we see happen at lots of his rallies that starts to explain and give context to what he said.
Crooked Joe Biden became mentally impaired, sad. But lying Kamala Harris, honestly, I believe she was born that way. There's something wrong with Kamala. And I just don't know what it is, but there is definitely something missing. And you know what? Everybody knows it.
This has been the line that Donald Trump is using against Kamala Harris. He says that she has a low IQ, she's not smart, or is mentally impaired, which is just so disgusting to say. And it's really just an offensive comment from Donald Trump. But of course, he doesn't care. He is willing to say anything that he wants because of his own insecurity. It is complete projection from Donald Trump, from someone who actually has never been smart and has always known it. And it is the reason why he continues to unravel more and more, the reason why he projects more and more, because he knows how badly he is losing this race. And that is what led him to say what he did in this breaking news reporting, this obtained audio from Maggie Haberman that she is reporting on, and I want to take a look at it. Trump uses shocking slur about Kamala Harris during private fundraiser, Maggie Haberman reports. Donald Trump took his seat at the dining table in his triplex penthouse apartment atop Trump Tower on the last Sunday in September, alongside some of the most sought-after and wealthiest figures in the Republican Party. Some politicians might have taken the moment to be charming and ingratiating with the donors. Not Trump, though. Over steak and baked potatoes, the former president tore through a bitter list of grievances. He made it clear that people, including donors, needed to do more, appreciate him more, and help him more. He disparaged Vice President Kamala Harris as the R word. He complained about the number of Jews still backing Harris, saying they needed their heads examined for not supporting him despite everything he had done for the state of Israel. At one point, Mr. Trump seemed to suggest that these donors had plenty to be grateful to him for. He boasted about how great he had been for their taxes, something that some privately noted wasn't true for everyone in the room. The rant, described by 7 people with knowledge of the meal who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss private conversations, underscored a reality 3 weeks before Election Day: Donald Trump's often cantankerous mood in the final stretch. And one of the reasons for his frustrations is money. He's trailing his Democratic rival in the race for cash and had to hustle to keep raising it. Donald Trump, someone who has never shied away from name-calling, is now referring to Vice President Kamala Harris as the R word. It's gotten to this point, this low point, because he knows how badly he is losing this race, trailing in donations, trailing in the polls. Donald Trump just can't stand it anymore because he knows on the other side of an election loss is accountability and shame. And that is why he continues to melt down, as perfectly described in this Lincoln Project ad right here.
Donald, it's just not working. You know it. The country is laughing at you. Eating pets? Really, Donald? That's all you got? It happens, Donald. Even the best shows lose their audience and get canceled, and you are never the best show. 3 million more voted for Clinton.
God bless you!
7 more for Joe Biden. Now you're tanking in the polls. Let's face it, Donald, your ratings suck. Look around. All these people like Chris and Susie, you're paying them more money than they ever made. You think they really care about you? What do you think will happen when you lose? You're headed to court. They're buying beach houses. And when it happens, Ron DeSantis is going to laugh his ass off. Nobody likes you, Donald. You were useful until you weren't. Eating pets? Sorry, Donald. You're canceled.
But as we have seen before, this is not the first time that Donald Trump has used this language. And so although it is disgraceful, I guess it shouldn't be shocking. And I expect to see countless Republicans try to come out and defend him using that gross word, that offensive word, because Lindsey Graham already has. But he got shut down for it, and I want to take a look.
I want to play something Trump said yesterday in a speech ostensibly about Vice President Kamala Harris's visit to the border. Let's take a listen.
Kamala is mentally impaired. Joe Biden became mentally impaired. Kamala was born that way. If you think about it, only a mentally disabled person could have allowed this to happen to our country.
Okay, so first of all, there are actual people out there with mental impairments, and that's insulting to them. Second of all, Vice President Kamala Harris is not mentally impaired.
No, I just think she's crazy liberal. I don't question her.
But what do you think about that rhetoric?
I just think the better course to take is to prosecute the case that her policies are destroying the country. They're crazy liberal. 400,000 people have been let loose in our country, 16,000 people convicted of being a rapist, 13,000 convicted murderers, and 400,000 of people generally convicted of crimes released on her watch. It's not going to get better.
So I saw that statistic. We dove into it, our fact checker. That statistic is actually over decades. So some of those people you're talking about are people that came into the country during Trump. And second of all, some of them are in prison. A lot of them are in prison, not ICE prisons, but federal prisons for their crimes. I can tell you this, the man who killed Laken Riley in Georgia was released by the Biden-Harris administration on parole because they had no capacity at the border to hold him. That's not a reason to parole people. I promise you, there are women have been raped and murdered. People have been hurt by illegal immigrants released into this country without detention. It is a nightmare. It is crazy. It's crazy to boycott a speech by the Prime Minister of Israel to a joint session of Congress thinking it won't embolden Iran. It's crazy to withdraw from Afghanistan hoping things will be different this time. Medicare for all, Green New Deal, crazy stuff. Okay. Now,
I'm not saying she's crazy. I'm saying your policies are batshit crazy.
It's just so sad to see these Republicans do anything they can to defend the indefensible of Donald Trump. And they're going to continue to, no matter what, because they are afraid of him. Just like spineless Lindsey Graham will continue to defend whatever Donald Trump says in the most disingenuous way. And in the same way, J.D. Vance will continue to defend his 2020 election loss, pretending as if it didn't happen, which seems to be his go-to non-answer whenever asked now, as we can see in this clip right here.
Lost in 2020. So definitively, can you say, separate from your concerns about corporate censorship, do you believe Trump lost in 2020?
What I find, look,
As I said in that interview, and I'm going to say to you right now, I think the election of 2020 had serious problems. You want to call it rigged? Call it whatever you want to. It wasn't okay. It wasn't okay.
It is incredibly sad to watch how spineless these members of the Republican Party are. We know Lindsey Graham knows better. He has said on record sometimes in privately leaked conversations he knows what a disaster Donald Trump is. And on January 6th, after having his life threatened, he said that he was done with him, only to come crawling back like the political pet he is. And of course, the same is true for J.D. Vance, who only ever cares about advancing his own career. These people lack courage. They're cowards. They are spineless. And we have to call them out at the same time as we're calling out Donald Trump. And we will continue on this show doing that every single day. If you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.